Okay, in this part of the assignment, we're going to take a look at our lemonade stand data. Yesterday or previously, you should have played lemonade stand. You should have recorded 30 days worth of data. Today, we're going to take a look at that data, and we are going to use some formulas, and we're going to create a chart which goes along with our data. So the first thing you need is you need to open up your data. Now, whether you were the one that kept this data or not, you need to have an individual copy. So if you were the one, then you already have a copy. What I want you to do is you need to share with your partner if you haven't done that. You can see that I've shared with two girls who didn't have this. What I want is I want to make sure that I shared a copy that is only a view only. Okay, can view. So you do not want to can edit. So what you want to do is I'm going to click down here, and it shows that everybody. It shows that I'm the owner, and it shows who I sent it to. You need to make sure that this is a can view. So if it was on can edit, you're going to see I need to save changes, but I want to change it to can view. Okay. Um, so if you're one of these people that received it, you're going to have to go up because it'll be in a read-only view. You're going to have to go to File and make a copy. And now that copy is yours. Okay, so that's the first thing we have to do. Second thing we're going to do is we should have all this data. This is what we kept yesterday, you and your partner, and whether you got through 30 days, I got through 30 days. But whether you did or not, it's however many days that you basically survived as an owner. Okay. Second thing I want to talk about is the difference between columns. Columns run down. You can see when I click here, column F. Okay, and rows run across. So you can see that these are columns. If I click on them, they go down. Rows run across. If I click on 4, it goes all the way across, and it'll keep going on until this chart ends. Okay. Now, if you click on one of these rectangles, instead of calling it a rectangle, we call it a cell, C-E-L-L. Okay, this is cell, and you can see that it is H5. The reason I know it's H5 is because basically it bolds it for you, so you can see it's H5, but basically you go down on H and you go over on 5, and this is kind of the point that it meets. Okay, so I will tell you need to click in cell such and such. Okay, it has to do with column first and then row. So this is H5. If I clicked over here, you can see this would be I10. Okay, kind of this is where you meet. So we're going to use some formulas. Formulas are basically kind of shortcuts to help you sort through your data. They will save you a lot of time and energy instead of having to type every single thing in. Okay, so what we're going to do is I want you to click down. We're going to find our product expenses. I want you to click on H4. Okay, H4. So we have to find our product expenses. To do that, okay, to tell the program that we are going to start a formula, you need to hit your equal sign. Now your equal sign is right to the left of your backspace. That's a key. It also has a plus on it. Okay, so we hit the equal sign, and then I have to basically start a parentheses. So I hold down Shift and I hit 9. You can see it starts a parentheses, and this lets us know that a formula is coming. So to find our product expenses, we're going to take our mouse and we're going to go over, and I'm going to make sure I scroll over so I can see everything. You can see this kind of moves with us, but it's actually going to put all of our work, in our original H4. It shows that there. So to find our product expenses, we have to click on how much a cost per glass was basically the program told us how much that was going to be each day. And then we need to multiply. And to multiply, we're going to hold down Shift and hit 8. And it gives us a little kind of a star. Well, that is used for multiplication. And then we're going to multiply it by E4. How many glasses did we make? So by doing that, it's going to give us our or product expenses. So I'm going to hit Shift and 0, and that closes our parentheses, and then I'm going to hit Enter. And you can see that 30 cents comes up. So I didn't have to make any changes. All I had to do was put that formula in. So you can see when I click on 0.30, it doesn't give me 0.30 gives me the formula. So watch what happens to my product expenses if I change this number right here. So let's say I make it 5 cents. Watch what happens to our product expenses. You can see that it automatically updated it there, which is awesome. You don't have to go back and figure in, what your product expenses are. The formula does it for you. Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to change it to 3. Okay, and it changes it for me. Now here's the really cool thing about using formulas is I can copy this formula and I can use it for the rest of my columns. So what I want you to do is I want you to right click on our formula here, and we're on H4, copy it. I want you to left click and drag, so I'm dragging all the way down to my last bit of data. And all I have to do is right click now and paste. And you'll see that it pastes in every single formula. And you can see it changes it automatically for you. B28 times E28. So by pasting that in, it automatically does the work for you. Saves you a lot of time. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. I want you to click on I4. And advertising expenses, we're going to hit an equals again. We're going to do our shift 9 parentheses again. And then we have to go over. So advertising expenses was how many signs that we put up. So I'm going to click on, so I'm taking my mouse and I'm clicking. And then we're going to hit the shift 8. And we have to put in how much did each sign cost. Well, each sign cost 25 cents. So I'm going to hit a 0.25 and I'm going to close my parentheses. And I'm going to hit enter. And you're going to see it put in 25 cents because I only had one sign. So we're going to do the exact same thing that we did. I'm going to click, I'm going to left click, and then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to copy this formula. I'm going to left click and drag all the way down. And I'm going to right click and paste. And you're going to see it puts in, so the days that we didn't put any signs up, it's 0. The days we put 2 signs up should be 50 cents. You can double check this. So you might want to double check your answers here. If you get, let's say you accidentally put in 11 when you thought you put in just 1, you can see it's going to charge you $2.75. So it wasn't that the formula was wrong, it was that your information was wrong. I had some students in the past that had huge product expenses because instead of putting 4 cents down, they put $40 down, and it threw everything out of whack. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to total expenses. Well, my total expenses, we're going to put the equal sign again. I'm going to start my parentheses with shift 9. Total expenses, basically we're going to add these two up. So I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to click on H4 and I'm going to hit my plus sign, okay, which is shift plus, and then I'm going to click on I4 and I'm going to close my parentheses. So again, when I do that, it gives me my total expenses. Okay, what's my next step? My next step is to left click, copy, left click and drag all the way down, and I'm going to right click and paste. And again, here's my total expenses. Now you can look and double check. What's $1 plus 25? Well, it's $1.25. Now you probably could see this and do this, but think how much time we just saved. Now my gross profit is basically all my profit minus any of these expenses. Okay, so gross profit we can find by going over, starting my letting the program know we're going to do a program. So equal sign, shift 9, and then to find that I'm going to scroll over, and to find gross profit we're going to click on how much did you charge per glass. Well, I charged 10 cents. And you can see K4 has followed me all the way over here so I can see what I'm doing. So how much did you charge per glass? So that is D4, which I clicked on, and then I'm going to multiply. And then I'm going to go over to how many glasses you sold. Not how many I made, but how many I sold. So that is F4. Close my parentheses and hit enter. You can see it puts it over here. So my gross profit is $1 whole I made today. Wow, I am rich. So I'm going to left click on it. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to left click and drag all the way down. Then I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste. You can see there's all my gross profit. Okay, for my 30 days. Now net profit is basically my profit that I made minus my total expenses, because we have to throw that in. Okay, when I get paid during the month, I have a gross profit and then I have a net profit. Gross profit is basically all the profit I have before I have to pay taxes and insurance and put in for retirement. So we need to figure out the net profit, because that's really how much you take home. Okay, so to do that, same thing we always start, equal sign, parentheses, and then we're going to click on K4. So that's our gross profit. So K4. We're going to subtract, which is right next to the plus. It's right next to the plus key, right to the left. So I'm going to click that. And then we're going to put in J4, our total expenses. And we're going to close that parentheses just like we had. Now I made $1 gross profit, but after my expenses, how much it charged for me to run this stand, I made a whole whopping 45 cents. Kind of a waste of a day if you think about it. Okay, so same thing we're going to do. We're going to copy this. I'm going to left click and drag all the way down. And then I'm going to right click and paste. And you can see some days I actually lost money. So that happens when you actually, when my profit is less than my expenses. Man, what a waste of a day. But sometimes that happens. So total assets. Here's what we need to figure out. We're going to figure out how much my stand has, how much I have to my name right now. So again, we use a formula. Equal sign, shift 9. And then to find our total assets, we're going to click on L4. And we are going to subtract. So the subtract key. And we're going to click on our total assets, which was M3. And then we're going to close it because we started with $3. Okay, so we started with $3. I hit enter and it gives me a negative 255. Let me see what I did there. Excuse me, it is not K4. Okay, so let me see, my total assets, I have that backwards, so please bear with me there. So I'm going to start over on that one. So for total assets, we're going to do equal sign. We're going to do our parentheses. We click on M4 first, and then we're going to add. I don't know why I subtracted L4. And that should give me 345. Okay, so now I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. I'm going to copy first, and then I'm going to left click and drag all the way down. I'm going to right click and paste. And you'll see I got a whole whopping $40.66 for my time. So again, to that one, I made a mistake there. It's M3, our total assets, plus L4. Okay, so we add basically the day before's net profit. Okay, so that gives us $40.66. Well, we're going to do one last thing. So I want you to, in L36, click and we're going to type in you made, and then we're going to go over to M36. And we're going to click on M33. Excuse me, not yet, because we have to put an equal sign in. And we have to put a parentheses in, just like we did. So that's shift and 9. And then we're going to click on $40.66, so which is M33. And this is where I'm going to subtract our M3. Okay, and we're going to close our parentheses. And that's really what we made, okay, because we need to take out what we started with. So really I made $37.66. Okay, so there's the first part. We made $37.66. This saved us a lot of time. I'm going to show you a couple other things that we can do. I want to know what my minimum cost per glass was, my maximum. I'm going to take out my median, and we're just going to do average. Okay, so you're going to have to write these things. You're going to have to type these in. So on A35, write min. On A36, write max. And on A37, write average. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the minimum number, the maximum number, and our average that, basically the program charged us. Okay, so to do that, we just do an equal sign. But here's the difference now. We just start typing MIN. And when we do that, you'll see that min comes up. Well, that's the minimum value. It says in a numeric data set. Okay, basically what we're asking is what's our smallest number? We haven't given it a number to look through yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on B33 and I'm going to scroll all the way up to my first day. Now I don't want you to go to B3 because it was 0, since on day 0 we didn't have any cost per glass. So it shows right here B4 through B33, and I click on there and you can see 3 cents. Now instead of me going, okay, 3 cents I think is, well, we let the program do it for us. So we're going to do the same thing with max. I want to see what our biggest number is. So I hit equal sign and I just start typing MAX. Well, that's the maximum value. So after that I click on B33 and I scroll up to our first day to B4 and I hit my enter, and you can see that 15 cents was our largest was our largest basically data that we had for the day. I want to center those out. And then our average, what was our average cost? So we're going to find that. Equal sign and start typing average. And you can see that I need to click and drag again all the way up. And I click there. And 8 cents was our average. Okay. Here's the awesome thing about this. I'm going to click and drag, and these are all 3 formulas. Well, they're different formulas, but I can copy all of them. And I'm going to come over to how much did you charge per glass. I'm only going to click on the ones that have money signs, because these will, since we copy the formulas that are in a dollar sign, it's going to change these all to dollars. So I can't click on C, E, or F, but I can click on D. So I'm going to go up to D35, just right click and paste, and you're going to see that my minimum, my maximum, and my average for how much did you charge per glass. So I'm going to go over to, I'm going to get that out of there. I'm going to click on, I don't know why that needs to get out. Okay, I'm going to click on H35 and I'm going to paste again. You can see it all goes in. Now I can click and drag here and I can paste all of those in. Okay. Now I made a mistake. I should have had you move this down right here. What I want you to do is I want you to click and drag. So I left clicked and dragged both of these. You can see when it changes to a hand, I can move it. So I've got to see how it changes to a hand. Well, I can click and move this down. So I want you to move it down to L40. Okay. Because I want to paste in also this information too, right there. Okay, so you can see my minimum net profit one day was a negative $1.50. It can do that. Okay, so we just used formulas to find min, max, and average there too, real quick. Okay, so what I want you to do is down at the very bottom it says add 1,000 rows, and we're not going to add 1,000. We're going to add 50. So I just changed that to 50. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a chart on this. So we're going to chart our total assets. Okay. So what I want you to do is click on F42. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to insert a chart. When we do that, it brings in basically to a chart editor. Okay. We haven't selected any data yet, and that's the first thing I want to do. So it basically clicks us onto F42. F42, there's no data. So we need to click over here, and that basically takes us to back to the chart. And we're going to go over and we're going to select all of our data here. So we're going to click on M, and I'm clicking and dragging. I'm going to go all the way up to my first day. So M3 to M33, and I'm going to click OK. And you're going to see it doesn't look like much because the chart that we have selected, doesn't fit our data. Okay, so I'm going to click on charts, and I'm going to click on, I think what we used for column. Let me see if I click on column. Yeah, so if you click on column and click on this one, you can see it shows all of our days and our assets here. So what I want to do is I'm going to insert that in, and then we're going to edit it after that. So if I insert it in, if I scroll down, it should be right there. Now here's what we can do is we need to basically fill in the rest of the chart, because I don't want, so it asks us for a horizontal axis title. Well, that stands for our days open. So that stands for our days open. And I can bold it, I can change the color of it, so maybe I want it to be a blue. If I click off of that, okay, you can see days open. Well, we have 0 through 50 here. If I click right here, this stands for total assets. And again, maybe I want to change that. Maybe I want this to be red. Okay, it says press enter to apply, so I press enter to apply, and it applies it in. Our chart title, lemonade stand total assets. Press enter to apply. You can see it puts it in. Okay. Now here's where you can basically make this your own. I can make changes to if I click on the different parts of it, you can see that a different menu comes up. Okay, so if I click here, I can change the color of this. So if I want to change it to a bright green, I can do that. Okay, grid line colors, if I want to change those out, so I can do that. If I want to actually edit the color of our little bars here, I can do that. I can change them to red. If I want to change this outside part of the chart, you'll have to excuse me. So I can change this color too. So if I wanted to change that to a red, that is pretty bright, isn't it? Maybe a yellow color. So again, there's a lot that you can do here, you can change that out. Maybe I want to make this a little bit bigger. So again, that's too big. I want you to make some changes to it. That looks a lot better. If you want it italicized, yeah, I kind of like that. So again, this just inserting chart offers us another way to take a look at our data. This makes it nice and easy. You can see that our total assets kept rising until our last day. Okay, so that is all for this assignment. We learned how to use formulas by manually typing them in. We learned how to use formulas, by using kind of the preset ones, and we basically put in a chart too. Okay, so again, everything is saved here. Your title is already done, so your assignment is finished. Good job.